Mia Thornton's life has always been in the spotlight. Known for her successful career as an entrepreneur and her glamorous social life, she appeared to have it all. But behind the sparkling smile and red carpet photos, her personal life was far from perfect. For years, fans and media alike watched her every move, speculating about her relationship with her husband, Ryan Collins. Rumors swirled, tabloids reported drama, and social media exploded with opinions. But through it all, Mia stayed silent, carrying a burden that few could see. Today, after years of emotional struggle and public scrutiny, Mia's messy divorce has finally been finalized. This moment marks the end of a long chapter filled with heartbreak, disappointment, and frustration, but also a turning point toward freedom, healing, and self-discovery. For anyone who has ever faced challenges in love and life, Mia's story is not just about fame or scandal. It is a story of resilience, strength, and finding oneself in the midst of chaos. Mia Thornton and Ryan Collins met in what seemed like a fairy tale moment. Their paths crossed at a charity gala, and instantly there was a spark that both of them felt strongly. To the outside world, they were the perfect couple, glamorous, ambitious, and seemingly in love. Public appearances showed them smiling, supporting each other's careers, and attending high-profile events hand in hand. Friends and fans admired their chemistry, and social media was filled with photos and compliments celebrating their relationship. But behind closed doors, things were not as perfect as they appeared. Mia's growing business demanded long hours and constant travel, while Ryan struggled to balance his own career ambitions with the pressures of being married to a public figure. Differences in priorities and personal values slowly began to show, though neither wanted to admit the cracks in their relationship at the time. It was a marriage that looked flawless on the outside, yet quietly the foundation was starting to weaken. The first signs of trouble in Mia and Ryan's marriage were subtle at first, almost easy to overlook. Small disagreements over daily routines and future plans slowly began to pile up, creating tension that neither knew how to resolve. Mia, completely devoted to building her business empire, often worked late nights, traveled frequently, and faced constant public attention, while Ryan felt increasingly isolated and overlooked. Arguments that once seemed minor grew into deeper conflicts about priorities, trust, and respect. The media, always watching, began to notice cracks in their relationship, fueled by rumors and vague social media posts that fans eagerly dissected. A turning point came when a private disagreement was leaked online. A video showing Mia and Ryan in a tense argument that went viral, leaving the couple exposed to public judgment. For Mia, this was crushing. Not only was her marriage in trouble, but every personal struggle now felt magnified, judged, and criticized by millions of strangers. She began to realize that their issues were more than temporary disagreements. They were fundamental differences that could no longer be ignored. Despite the heartbreak, Mia tried to keep her composure, balancing her career, public image, and personal pain, showing a strength that many admired but few truly understood. What followed was nothing short of a long, exhausting roller coaster for Mia Thornton. For years, her marriage unfolded like a public spectacle, with every argument, disagreement, and court decision scrutinized by fans and media alike. The legal battles were relentless, court filings dragged on, custody disputes, fictional children, if included, created emotional strain, and financial settlements became complex and draining. Mia felt the pressure of constant judgment from strangers, yet she tried to maintain her career and public image, knowing that letting the drama consume her would only hurt her further. The media painted every step of her life in bold headlines, from alleged disagreements to rumored affairs, making it nearly impossible to separate truth from speculation. Emotionally, Mia endured sleepless nights, anxiety, and heartbreak, wondering if she would ever find peace. Friends and family tried to support her, but the constant public attention often made even private conversations feel invasive. Amid the chaos, Mia also experienced moments of resilience. She continued to innovate in her business, took on new projects, and refused to let her personal life define her entirely. Yet, there were moments when the weight of it all seemed unbearable, when she questioned whether the fight was worth it, and whether the pain of letting go would ever end. The drama was not just legal or public, it was deeply personal, shaping her every day, every decision, and her very sense of self. Through it all, Mia's story became a lesson in endurance, in facing challenges head-on, and in understanding that sometimes the hardest battles teach the most about who we truly are. After years of endless conflict and heartache, Mia finally reached a point where she realized she needed to take control of her own life. It wasn't a sudden decision. It came after countless sleepless nights, reflection, and moments of quiet pain when she asked herself what she truly wanted. She began seeking guidance, turning to counselors, legal advisors, and trusted friends who helped her see the situation clearly. For the first time, Mia understood that her happiness could not depend on anyone else, and that holding on to the past would only prolong her suffering. This turning point also marked a shift in her approach to the divorce. Instead of reacting emotionally to every rumor or media headline, she chose to act strategically, focusing on facts and what was best for her future. Mia began setting boundaries with the press, prioritizing her mental and emotional health, and slowly reclaiming her independence. A public revelation, a leaked document, or a viral story could have destroyed her, but instead, she used it as a moment to demonstrate composure and dignity, showing the world that she would no longer be defined by drama or speculation. Most importantly, this period brought personal growth. Mia started reflecting deeply on her values, her needs, and the life she wanted to build for herself. She learned the importance of self-respect, patience, and resilience. While the pain of the past was real and lingering, she finally felt a sense of empowerment that she had never experienced before. The turning point wasn't just legal or practical, it was deeply emotional, a quiet but profound shift in her mindset that prepared her to face the final chapter of her messy divorce with courage, clarity, and hope. After years of constant conflict and emotional strain, Mia reached a breaking point where she could no longer let the situation control her life. Every late night, every anxious call with her lawyer, and every social media rumor had slowly built up into a heavy weight on her shoulders. She realized that continuing to react impulsively or let anger guide her decisions would only keep her trapped in the same cycle of pain. It was in these quiet moments of reflection, alone in her apartment after a long day of court hearings and business meetings, that Mia finally confronted the reality. She deserved peace, dignity, and the chance to rebuild her life on her own terms. This turning point involved a series of deliberate actions. Mia began attending counseling sessions to process years of emotional turmoil and to better understand her own needs and boundaries. She sought the advice of trusted mentors and legal advisors, carefully planning her next steps instead of rushing decisions out of frustration or exhaustion. She also made the conscious choice to protect herself from the constant media scrutiny that had amplified every argument and mistake. By setting boundaries, limiting public exposure, and focusing on what truly mattered, her well-being and future, Mia regained a sense of control that she hadn't felt in years. But perhaps the most significant change was internal. Mia started to rediscover herself, learning to separate her identity from the drama of the divorce. She reflected on her values, reassessed her priorities, and began building a vision for her life that was independent of anyone else. She discovered a quiet strength she hadn't realized she possessed, the ability to stand firm, make tough decisions, and face adversity with grace. Even when a new public leak or gossip threatened to destabilize her, Mia found herself responding with composure instead of panic, using each challenge as a reminder of her resilience. This turning point wasn't just about legal strategy or public image, it was about personal empowerment. For the first time in years, Mia felt she was reclaiming her life, and with that newfound clarity, she prepared herself to finally close the chapter on her messy divorce. Finally, after years of struggle, emotional turmoil, and public scrutiny, Mia Thornton's divorce was officially finalized. The legal battle that had dominated so much of her life was over, and with it came a profound sense of relief she hadn't felt in years. The court documents were signed, settlements reached, and all the back-and-forth disputes came to an end. For Mia, it was more than just a legal conclusion. It was a symbolic release from the weight that had pressed on her shoulders for so long. On the day she received the final confirmation, Mia experienced a flood of emotions. Relief, sadness, and even a sense of triumph mingled together as she reflected on everything she had endured. The journey had been painful, exhausting, and sometimes lonely, but it had also taught her resilience, patience, and the importance of self-respect. She realized that while the divorce marked the end of a significant chapter, it also opened the door to a new beginning.